That is such good advice. You know, when you think about it, most of the time when people get into trouble, it's because they aren't relaxed here and they start to get frantic. And so relaxing, floating, doing what you can there to stay safe. We have had 6 fatalities, 6 deaths this year, 5 in Puerto Rico, 1 in Florida. And let's hope we don't add to that list here. We're getting into a busy time, especially with spring break. A lot of the college spring breaks have happened, but now we're getting into the high school spring breaks and kids going to the beach. And rip current risk is out there. We've got a high risk today along the Florida Panhandle beaches. We also have a high risk across the west coast of Florida. We're also looking at a few spots down here in southeast Florida, like around Miami Beach. And that's where the water temperatures actually are warm enough that you're really going to think about swimming. The water temperatures here in the mid 70s. Elsewhere, it's a little bit cooler. I mean, low 70s there on the west coast of Florida. I think that's tolerable, but mid 60s there in the Panhandle. Tough to think about swimming, right, with water temperatures all that chilly. We've got rainfall in the forecast over the next 5 days, although it doesn't come for a few days. So you see that map and you think, oh, it's going to rain. Not necessarily. It doesn't come until the middle to the end of the week for you in the Panhandle. Miami, we've got a dry week ahead. Today's forecast, you started off a little chilly this morning in the 60s, and for South Florida standards, that is chilly. We'll have another chilly morning tomorrow, and I'm going to put that in quotes, but warming up nicely through the afternoon and more like it Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday with overnight lows here settling about 70 degrees, highs in the 80s. Key Largo, Florida, looking good. Temps are going to be in the mid to upper 70s. No rain in the forecast for you. Beautiful weather ahead. Orlando, we've got a dry forecast too, which is great to see. And we start heating up by Tuesday. We could hit the 90s. All right, Reynolds, everyone is also gearing up for perhaps traveling to see the eclipse. A whole host of new threats with severe season starting to ramp up. So we're going to talk about that in today's Coffee Talk, starting off with where we are. You know, we usually get severe, even January, February, but certainly in March here, it actually doesn't seem like it's been the busiest of months.
Yeah, we had one kind of burst of activity in the mid-month, the Ides of March, no surprise. But other than that, it's been relatively inactive. Relatively, it doesn't mean we had nothing. But certainly March can be a lot busier than that calendar.
It's also interesting where we saw the severe weather in March.
Yeah, when you look at the climatology of tornado reports for mid-March, you can see that, well, the greatest on average is in the southern U.S. But all those little red dots on that map show you where we actually saw tornadoes during that period. And look how many of them were outside of that main zone. In the upper Midwest, where so often we have snow on the ground.
Yeah, so proof positive that what you may expect sometimes is not exactly what you might get.
Weather versus climate.
Yeah, there are always fluctuations.
Yeah, and just, you know, we had such a warm winter, warmest on record for so many. You know, and I think that helped maybe drive where we saw the storms. What's interesting, though, is that we haven't seen a busy March. We're running actually below average when it comes to tornado reports.
That is true, and I think we'll add to that in the coming days. But what's also interesting about this map, and it's actually how the atmosphere works. You sort of go stair-stepping your way up through the tornado season, right? You get these periods of inactivity where the red line is flat, and then it goes up immediately with an event, right? A couple of days worth of severe weather reports, and then it's flat for a while. That's how Mother Nature works in this episodic kind of way, where we kind of go up and down and up and down, but never like a steady, smooth curve.
Right. And we see the weather patterns changing. Sometimes we've got storm systems moving through quickly, sometimes it's slowly. And so as we get into April, you know, what are we going to see changing? That's kind of the next thing we want to talk about. Where are we going to focus in on the risk of storms?
You know, it is really interesting. And looking at some of the longer range guidance out there, it feels like that we're going to see a lot more troughs in the west. That means, for those who are not familiar, dips in the jet stream. So cooler and stormier weather in the west, warmer, more humid air, more unstable air in the southeast. So this map, as we go into early April, which shows where the typical risks are, it may kind of line up with that. We're starting to see, I think, more signal for chances of severe weather in the southeast.
But sometimes, though, you can see things evolve and change. It's not ever always locked solid.
Exactly.
I know it was written granted. Good deal.
You know, May traditionally is the most active month when it comes to tornadoes. But, you know, just thinking back to some of your travel reporting from storms, Reynolds, the past couple of years, it's been April, don't you think?
It has been. It has been. Yeah. But I mean, it's always interesting how conditions can be, well, they can be wrong or right. I mean, it's going to happen when it's going to happen. But we have had some weird exceptions. We'll get this on Monday. Looks like a pretty good chance going through the Show Me State, but cleared in into portions of the 35 corridor. Wow. Yeah,
I think all hazards are in play. I mean, SPC said it outright. You know, we got wind, hail, and a tornado threat as well.
Interesting.
Kind of right on schedule for where you would expect it and the timing of when you would expect it.
Well, let's revisit our question of the day.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with you through the mid-morning hours to get you ready for all the big events in your neighborhood.
The Weather Channel has you covered from coast to coast.
That's right. And what is set to come down from the sky this weekend? You've got rain, the prospect of heavy rain. Hail, too, kind of like what we saw last weekend in Texas. This is near Henrietta, Texas, on Sunday, and what a mess that happened to be. I mean, some of the hail we're hoping won't be the size of Easter eggs.
You know, hen egg is a size of hail. There's like these descriptors of hail, right? But why not Easter egg size?
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Interesting.
And it's a good thing they're not. We determined that they're not as big as groupers, and we know that they're not as big as parking garages, Reynolds.
Yes, indeed, that's very true. Hen eggs important though, because rooster eggs, that doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No. Yeah. Well, let's jump right into today's big deal.
City, not too far from there, Brighton picked up a foot of snow already. A couple of spots in the Sierra picked up about a foot of snow already, like around Soda Springs Ski Resort, and that's before this has yet to come in. This is our big storm system for the weekend. You can see it all spiraled up out here off the west coast. There's actually a tiny little low up to the north, which is bringing us a little bit of shower activity off the coast of western Washington and northern Oregon, but really it's not raining in Seattle. You're doing fine right now. Temps running a little on the cool side, 41 degrees, but dry. This is the main event. The rain comes in today. Now rain has moved into San Francisco and the Bay Area. We'll get that rain down through San Jose. Mountain snow will be adding up. I-80 travelers heads up. There will be some restrictions getting in through the weekend. We've got heavy snow there and more than a foot in spots coming in on top of what you've already seen. Then we also do have the rain spreading all the way down the coast, and there may be some thunderstorm activity that we will be watching into your Easter Sunday. A couple of inches of rainfall down here, and that's why there are some flood concerns. Flood watches up already here, Santa Barbara, all of Los Angeles. You go down through Oceanside and San Diego. We've got flood watches with that risk of flooding starting today through tomorrow morning, kind of spreading through the Central Valley and down the coast. Saturday into Sunday, we're going to keep an eye on Southern California, but then spread it out Sunday to Monday with some of that moisture moving into Arizona by this point. Rain again spreading southward today and spreading inland. Today's going to be a tough one for the mountain snow as well, starting overnight tonight into tomorrow, and then we'll see that expanding. Look at all this moisture spreading across parts of Utah and even Colorado. Get some new fresh snow into the mountains there. Ready for the holiday weekend, Reynolds?
Yeah.